My wife Clara and I bought the house in October. It was a 1920s craftsman with original woodwork, original fixtures, and original mirrors. That last detail should have been a red flag, but we thought it was charming. Every mirror in the house was old, heavy, set in dark wood frames. There were 7 of them: bathroom, bedroom, hallway, living room, dining room, and 2 in the front entry. They'd all been left by the previous owner, who died in the house. We never thought to replace them. They were beautiful. It took me 3 weeks to notice that every single one of them was wrong. It started with the bathroom mirror. I was shaving and I noticed the reflection showed the towel rack on the wrong wall. In the bathroom, the rack is on the left. In the mirror, it was on the right. I figured the mirror was angled oddly, or the frame was warped. I adjusted it. The rack was still on the wrong side. I stood directly in front of it, perfectly square. Still wrong. I walked into the hallway and looked at the hallway mirror. It showed the hallway, but the front door was on the wrong side. Every mirror in the house showed the room from a slightly different angle than it should have been. I told Clara. She didn't seem bothered, said old mirrors were often imperfect, the glass could be warped, the backing uneven. That made sense for one mirror, maybe 2, but all 7, each showing its room from a consistent but incorrect angle. That wasn't warping. That was deliberate. I started researching. Old mirrors, especially from the early 1900s, were sometimes made with intentionally angled glass. I read about superstitions, how some cultures believed mirrors could trap or reveal things. I was going down rabbit holes. Clara told me to stop, that I was scaring myself. I tried to let it go. Then Clara saw it too. She was doing her hair in the bedroom mirror. She stopped mid-stroke and called me in. "Look," she said. In the mirror, our bedroom looked normal, except the closet door was open. In reality, the closet door was closed. She just shut it. We covered the bedroom mirror with a sheet that night. Neither of us slept. The next morning, I called the previous owner's estate executor, the woman who'd sold us the house. I asked about the mirrors. She went quiet for a long time. Then she told me the previous owner, a woman named Margaret, had been found dead in the entryway. Heart attack, officially, but she'd been found lying in front of the entry mirrors, both of them, positioned between them. Her face, according to the paramedic report, had an expression of absolute terror. Her eyes were open, fixed on the mirrors. She'd been staring into them when she died. The executor told me something else. Margaret had bought the mirrors one at a time over a period of years, from estate sales and antique shops. She'd been obsessed with them. She'd had them professionally hung, specifically angled. The executor said Margaret had once told her the mirrors were connected, that they all showed the same room, just from different angles. A room that wasn't this house. A room she could see but never enter. I asked if Margaret had ever mentioned seeing someone in the mirrors. The executor paused again. She said Margaret had told her there was someone in the mirrors who could see her back. Someone who was getting closer.
I wanted to take the mirrors down immediately. Clara agreed, but when we tried to remove the first one, the dining room mirror, we couldn't. The brackets were set into the wall, embedded in the plaster. Someone had installed them from inside the wall cavity during construction. The mirrors were meant to be permanent. We'd need to break the wall to remove them. We called a contractor. He came out, looked at the brackets, and told us something that made my skin crawl. The brackets weren't standard hardware. They were hand-forged iron, old, but the mounting method was unusual. Each mirror was positioned so its glass sat flush against a small opening in the wall behind it.
We called the police. They came and opened the wall further. The passage ran the entire length of the house, connecting behind every mirror. There were old candle stubs along the floor, some burned down to nothing. Handprints in the dust on the walls. And the shoes. They examined them. Women's shoes, size 6, from the 1940s. The same era as the oldest mirrors. The passage had been used regularly. Someone had lived in the walls and used the mirrors as one-way windows. But the passage was empty now. Or so they thought. The officer who went deepest into the passage came back white-faced. He said the passage didn't end. They sent a team into the passage. It did go down. A narrow staircase carved into the foundation, descending about 12 feet, opening into a chamber beneath the basement floor. The chamber was roughly the footprint of the house. In the center was a chair, facing a wall covered entirely in mirrors. Not hung on the wall, embedded in it. Old, tarnished mirrors, dozens of them, all angled toward the chair. On the chair, there was a journal. The police let me read parts of it later. It was Margaret's handwriting. The journal entries got stranger the further they went. Margaret wrote that she'd started seeing the figure in the mirrors. At first just a shape, then more defined. A person, standing in the rooms of the reflection house, always at the edge, always watching whoever looked into the mirrors from our side. She wrote that the figure was getting clearer each time she looked. More detailed, closer to the surface of the glass. She wrote that she believed the figure was trying to come through. Not metaphorically, literally pressing against the glass from the other side. The last entry was dated 3 days before she died. It read, "I think I let it see me too clearly." The police sealed the passage and the chamber. They told us the house was structurally compromised, that we shouldn't live there until an engineer could assess the foundation. We moved into a hotel that night. But here's what I can't stop thinking about. The mirrors showed our house from a different angle, but the angles were consistent across all 7 mirrors. They all showed the same room, the same space, just from different vantage points. Like someone had placed cameras throughout a single house, and the mirrors were the monitors. The reflections weren't wrong. They were showing us a real house. Someone's house. Before we left, I went back one more time. I don't know why. I stood in the entryway between the 2 mirrors, where Margaret had been found. I looked into the left mirror. The reflection showed the entryway, but from a slightly different angle, as always. This time, there was someone in the reflection, standing behind me. I could see them clearly. It was a woman, thin, older, wearing a dark dress. Her face was turned away, looking at something I couldn't see. I didn't move. I couldn't. I watched as she slowly turned her head toward me. The face wasn't hers. It was Margaret's face, but the eyes weren't right. I ran. I didn't look back at the other mirror. I got in my car and drove to the hotel. When I got there, Clara was sitting on the bed. She asked me what was wrong. I told her. She looked at me for a long time and said something that made my blood go cold. She said she'd come back to the house too, before me. She'd stood in front of the hallway mirror. She'd seen the woman too, but in Clara's reflection, the woman wasn't standing behind her. She was standing next to her. Close enough to whisper. And Clara said the woman had whispered something to her. She told me what it said. We never went back to that house. It was sold as is to an investor who planned to demolish it. I don't know if he did. I don't want to know. We moved across the country. New city, new apartment, no old mirrors. We bought everything new. 3 months of normalcy. Then last week, Clara was getting ready for work. She was brushing her hair in the bathroom, looking in the mirror we bought new from a department store. She stopped, called me in. The mirror showed the bathroom from the wrong